This is no medical advice for educational purposes only. Consult your doctor. Breathe at your own risk.
Two students sitting inches apart, yet totally disconnected. We tend to treat empathy as a character trait, a virtue or a moral choice you either make or you don't. But human connection is dictated by the mammalian nervous system. Before we can show compassion, our brain constantly scans the environment, prioritizing basic survival over social engagement. When that nervous system detects a threat, even the quiet stress of a deadline, it locks the body into a rigid, defensive fight-or-flight state. In this state, the biological pathways required for understanding actively shut down. The body cannot afford to spend resources on empathy when it is prepared for defense. Entering a state of connection is not a matter of willpower. To override these primitive defense mechanisms, the body requires a specific physical signal of safety. That signal begins with voluntary, controlled breathing, the human body's built-in manual override for the evolutionary defense state. The mechanics of this override are precise. It starts with a gentle, unforced 4-second inhalation through the nose. This is followed by an extended 6-second exhalation through pursed lips, creating a slight physical resistance. By extending the exhalation longer than the inhale, you maximize parasympathetic influence, dropping heart rate. The vagus nerve picks up this drop, carrying the rhythm from chest to brainstem. 6 10-second cycles per minute creates the physiological baseline required to engage with others. The mechanics of extending the exhale lay the physical groundwork required to stop defending and start seeing the people around us. Once that steady signal reaches the brain, it moves directly into the emotion regulation centers. Here, it encounters the amygdala, the brain's alarm system. When we are stressed, this center misinterprets neutral interactions as potential attacks. The incoming vagal signal triggers a release of GABA, the brain's inhibitory neurotransmitter. These particles target the overactive amygdala, acting as a chemical brake. It dims the erratic threat response, handing regulated control back to the prefrontal cortex. Clinical findings show that 15 minutes of this diaphragmatic breathing increases interoceptive awareness, improving our capacity to tolerate and understand another's pain. By silencing internal threat alarms, GABA clears the neural interference that prevents us from accurately listening to our partners. Silencing the threat response is the first step, but empathy requires the brain to actively engage its prosocial systems. Researchers recently identified a neural network running from the hypothalamus to the brainstem. It links the rhythm of our breathing directly to bonding hormones. The calming repetition of the 4-6 breath stimulates this network to release oxytocin into the system. Oxytocin performs a dual function. It amplifies cardiac relaxation in the chest while triggering the nodes required to accurately read human facial expressions. Studies on clinical populations show that slow, regulated breathing increases circulating oxytocin and a marked improvement in the ability to recognize emotion in others. This breathing rhythm provides the brain with the neurochemistry required to establish trust, form bonds, and accurately perceive the emotional reality of another person. Back in the classroom, we can see the macroscopic result of these internal shifts. The regulated student sits quietly beside their stressed peer. The physical presence and rhythmic breathing of one individual subconsciously signals safety to the other. This is a biological phenomenon known as physiological synchrony. When people share a regulated mental state, their independent biological systems begin to align. As this data shows, as trust and cooperation develop between two people, their individual heart rates spontaneously entrain to beat in the same rhythm. This biological mirroring is the literal, physical manifestation of deep emotional connection and rapport between human beings. Interpersonal connection remains biologically difficult as long as the body is trapped in an evolutionary defense state. The 4-6 breath overrides that defense, engages the vagus nerve, releases GABA to quiet the alarm, and fuels the oxytocin bonding network. Love and empathy are biological outcomes of a highly regulated mammalian nervous system. Now, those same two students work together with genuine, relaxed understanding, operating from a place of profound biological safety. slowing the breath is a practical application of love, using our oldest biology to bridge the gap between ourselves and the world.